Listen, energy is the most expensive currency you got. You can get money back, you can rebuild status, you can restart damn near anything, but once your energy gone, that's time you'll never see again. So if you're serious about elevation, if you're really talking growth and not just saying it for motivation clips, then you gotta learn where not to spend yourself. First place, don't waste your energy trying to convince people who already decided they don't believe in you. Some people made up their mind about you before you ever opened your mouth. They don't want clarity. They want confirmation of their doubt. And the more you explain, the smaller you make yourself. Let your work talk. Let consistency speak fluent. Real ones don't need convincing, they watching quietly. Second place, don't pour your energy into environments that don't water you. If every time you leave a room you feel drained, confused, or doubting yourself, that's not growth, that's survival mode. You can't evolve in spaces that only tolerate you. You need rooms that challenge you, sharpen you, stretch you. Loyalty to the wrong environment is self-sabotage dressed up as patience. Third place, stop wasting energy arguing with people who profit from misunderstanding you. Some folks don't want peace. They want control. They twist your words, move the goalposts, keep the conversation spinning so you never move forward. Silence is power when dialogue has no destination. Not every battle deserves your voice. Some deserve your absence. Fourth place, don't invest energy in versions of people that no longer exist. You remember who they used to be, but you ignoring who they are right now. Growth requires truth. And the truth is, everybody not coming with you, that don't make them evil. It just means your paths diverged. Carrying dead weight don't make you strong, it makes the journey heavier. Fifth place, and this one hurt the most, don't waste your energy fighting who you used to be. Regret will keep you trapped in a past that already taught you the lesson. You either learn or you bleed again. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know back then. The old you is a student. The new you is the proof. See, energy is direction. Where you place it is where your life expands. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need approval to proceed. Protect your focus like it's sacred because it is. Stay disciplined. Stay selective. Stay committed to the long game. Marathon mentality always. You gotta understand something real early in this life. Some people are not confused about you. They're committed to misunderstanding you. And once you see that, your whole approach gotta change. Because explaining yourself to people like that is like pouring water into a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how pure your intentions are, no matter how honest your words sound, it's never gonna be enough. They don't want clarity. They want control. They don't want truth. They want you small. A lot of people burn out, not because they're working too hard, but because they're explaining too much. Every time you defend your vision as someone who already decided it won't work, you leak energy. Every time you justify your growth to someone who benefits from you staying the same, you hand over power. And energy once given to the wrong place doesn't come back cleaner. It comes back drained. See, real understanding don't need long speeches. People who rock with you, they feel you. They see the consistency, the discipline, the quiet grind when nobody clapping. They don't ask you to prove yourself over and over again. It's the ones sitting on the sidelines, comfortable in their doubt, that demand explanations. And the truth is, explanations make them feel important, like they get a vote in your destiny. You gotta ask yourself, why am I trying so hard to be understood by someone who never tried to understand me? That's ego disguised as patience. That's fear disguised as politeness. Sometimes you're not explaining because you owe them clarity. You explaining because you want acceptance. And the moment your self-worth starts depending on being understood, you give away your leverage. Growth is lonely sometimes because elevation requires silence. When you leveling up, you don't broadcast the blueprint to people who never built nothing. You don't argue with opinions that aren't backed by experience. You let results do the talking. Results don't stutter. Results don't over-explain. Results walk in the room and shift the temperature without saying a word. And don't get it twisted, this ain't about being cold or arrogant. It's about being disciplined. It's about knowing that your energy is a non-renewable resource. You only get so many focused hours, so many clear thoughts, so much emotional fuel in a day. You can spend that building, or you can spend that convincing. One moves your life forward, the other keeps you stuck in conversation loops with people who don't even plan to move. Some people will never clap until the crowd does. Some will never believe until it's popular to believe. If you wait on them, you'll be waiting forever. Visionaries always look crazy before they look right. That's the tax. And if you try to explain your future to someone still living in your past, you're going to frustrate yourself every time. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Sometimes the strongest response is no response. Sometimes growth looks like you smiling, nodding, and continuing the mission without announcing it. Let them misunderstand you. Let them doubt. Let them talk. None of that stops the work unless you let it inside your head. The moment you stop explaining yourself to the wrong people, you feel lighter. Your focus sharpens. Your moves get cleaner. You start hearing your own intuition again instead of outside noise. You realize you don't need validation to be valid. You don't need agreement to be aligned. You don't need permission to proceed. People who are meant to understand you will catch up eventually. And if they don't, that's still okay. Your responsibility is not to be understood by everyone. Your responsibility is to stay true to the vision that woke you up when nobody was watching, to protect the energy that fuels your discipline, to keep moving with purpose even when the room is quiet, even when the claps are delayed, even when the misunderstanding is loud, because the real work don't require explanations. It requires consistency, patience, and the courage to keep going without needing to be seen, heard, or approved. Knowing that every ounce of energy you save by not explaining is energy you can invest into becoming everything you already know you're supposed to be, even when nobody else sees it yet. You got to be honest with yourself about the rooms you're standing in, because environments shape outcomes whether you acknowledge it or not. You can have the vision, the talent, the work ethic, but if the soil is toxic, the seed still struggles. A lot of people swear they're loyal when really they're just afraid to leave what's familiar. They confuse comfort with destiny, routine with purpose. But growth don't happen where you only tolerate it. It happens where you're challenged. Every environment has a frequency. Some places push you forward, others quietly pull you back. And the dangerous ones aren't always loud or aggressive. Sometimes it's the subtle discouragement, the jokes about your dreams, the constant reminders of who you used to be. You walk in motivated, you walk out second guessing yourself. That's not coincidence, that's chemistry. Your spirit reacting to a space that doesn't align with where you're going. You can't outgrow an environment you keep defending. When you start making excuses for why a place doesn't support you, that's usually your intuition asking for an exit. Growth demands honesty, and honesty hurts because it exposes what you've outgrown. Some relationships, some circles, some situations were perfect for a chapter that already ended. Holding on to them doesn't make you loyal. It makes you stagnant. There's a difference between patience and self-neglect. Patience is staying committed when the process is slow but purposeful. Self-neglect is staying where you're shrinking just to avoid discomfort. The truth is, the right environment doesn't always feel easy, but it feels right. It stretches you, challenges your habits, forces you to rise to a higher standard. Wrong environments feel safe at first, but slowly suffocate your ambition. A lot of people don't realize how much energy they spend surviving instead of building. You spend your days explaining your mindset, protecting your goals from negative opinions, recovering from conversations that drain you. That energy could have been used to create, to plan, to execute. Instead, it's wasted just trying to stay mentally intact. That's when you got to step back and ask yourself why you're fighting so hard just to exist somewhere. Elevation requires separation. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you're serious about becoming better than you were. Everybody can't come with you, and everybody not meant to. Some people are seasonal. Some environments are temporary. The mistake is thinking everything that started with you is supposed to finish with you. Growth doesn't work like that. When you leave an environment that no longer fits, it feels lonely at first. Silence replaces noise. Familiar faces disappear. But in that quiet, you reconnect with yourself. You hear your own thoughts again. Your vision gets clearer. Your confidence starts rebuilding without interference. You realize how heavy it was, carrying places and people that couldn't carry you back. And it's not about burning bridges or announcing exits. Sometimes growth is just a quiet withdrawal. Less explaining, less showing up, less emotional investment, more focus, more intention, more alignment. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need validation to change your surroundings. You just need the courage to choose environments that feed your future instead of feeding off your energy. The moment you step into spaces that respect your grind, that recognize your discipline, that challenge you to go further, something shifts. You move differently. You speak differently. You think bigger. Not because you changed who you are, but because you finally stopped shrinking to fit places that were never built for the version of you that's trying to emerge. Understanding that growth is not just about what you add to your life, but what you have the strength to walk away from when it no longer aligns with the direction your soul is pulling you toward. You gotta stop letting the past sit in the driver's seat of your life. Reflection is healthy, but living in regret is a prison. A lot of people confuse growth with punishment, like they gotta suffer forever for who they used to be. But pain was the lesson, not the sentence. If you keep replaying old mistakes, you end up fighting ghosts instead of building the future that's waiting on you. The old version of you was operating with limited information, different mindset, different tools, different awareness. Judging that person with today's clarity is unfair. That's like blaming a student for not knowing what the teacher hadn't taught yet. You survived what you didn't understand at the time, and survival itself is proof of strength. The problem starts when you turn memory into a weapon against yourself. Regret drains more energy than failure ever could. Failure teaches, regret tortures. It keeps you mentally busy but spiritually stuck. You think you're being accountable, but really you're just recycling pain. Accountability is learning and moving forward. Self-attack keeps you frozen in a moment that already passed. Every minute you spend hating who you were is a minute you steal from who you're becoming. Distractions work the same way. Not everything that demands your attention deserves it. Social noise, empty opinions, pointless debates, constant comparison, it all pulls you away from your mission. Focus is a muscle, and every time you give it to something that doesn't matter, it gets weaker. You don't need to respond to every comment, react to every situation, or explain every move. Some things are designed to slow you down, not inform you. And then there are battles that feel important but don't move you forward. Ego battles, pride battles, proving you were right battles. You win the argument and still lose time. You protect your image and damage your progress. Not every fight is worth the energy it costs. Real power is knowing when to walk away with your focus intact. Forward motion requires discipline. Discipline to forgive yourself. Discipline to say no to distractions. Discipline to choose long-term vision over short-term validation. When you're serious about the future, you can't keep negotiating with the past. The past already took what it needed. The lesson was paid in full. Your life expands in the direction of your attention. If your attention stays locked on what went wrong, your growth stays limited. But when you redirect that focus toward what's possible, momentum starts building. Small wins stack. Confidence returns. You start trusting yourself again. Not because you're perfect, but because you're committed to progress. There's a version of you ahead that needs your full energy. That version doesn't need you stuck in shame or distraction. It needs clarity, consistency, and courage. Courage to release what no longer serves you. Courage to stay locked in when nobody's cheering yet. Courage to move forward even when the past tries to pull you back. You don't owe yesterday another explanation. You don't owe distractions your peace. You don't owe pointless battles your future. All you owe yourself is honesty and effort. The rest is alignment. When your energy stops leaking into regret and noise, it starts fueling execution. Moves get sharper, decisions get cleaner, vision gets stronger. And you realize that forward is the only direction that ever made sense. Because everything you need is built by what you do next, not by what you keep replaying. And the moment you commit to that truth, you stop wasting energy on things that don't add to your mission and start investing fully in the life you're still in the process of creating.